I think the funniest thing I remember about Richie was he loved working on the rig. And one morning I came down to get my cup of coffee, and I see these two legs sticking out from under the rig. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? I hear all this banging, and nobody works this early in the morning. So I grab the two legs, I pull it out. Here's Richie underneath the rig, covered in grease, with a huge smile on his face. I go, what the heck are you doing? He goes, I'm putting in a new siren. I go, what do you mean you're putting in a new siren? Yeah, I'm putting in the mechanical siren. It's great. And I tell you, to this day, that thing is great. Of course, we didn't use it when Richie was riding. He'd be in the back screaming, use the siren, use the siren. And we'd use the regular siren that they gave us. And then as soon as he got off the rig, we'd use his siren. And it just drove him crazy. But to this day, I guess it's a year and a half now, it's the Richie siren, and that's what we use. We use it all the time. And we just love it. And it'll always be on our apparatus. And it'll always make us remember Richie. The firehouse ain't the same without you, bro. Love you.
There's hundreds of stories about Richie, but with me and him, he shortly after he got on the job, he was in 21 engine, blackjack engine, and he was there, and he was working. He's telling me all the time, even the littlest thing. If it was, if he thought it was work, he'd let you know, because he just wanted everyone to know he was still catching work in blackjack. And we relocated there one night, and it was early in the morning. It was like probably 2 in the morning. They were at a third alarm or something. As soon as I got into the quarters, I looked for Richie's rack, and there his helmet is, and whatever little scuffs, whatever little things he could do, and I'm sure he was, getting into as many smoky and salty places as possible, being in 21 engine. He was, I took that helmet and scrubbed it like hazel. And when I was done with it, pretty much looked like it came out of the box. And I tell you what, I left a little note in a journal for him, and because I knew he would look for it. And he would do high and low to find out who did it, and sure enough, 2 days later, he calls me up, you son of a bitch, I'll get you back, I'll get you back. And for years, he swore he was going to get me back. And it's just one of those things, and that was Richie, and he's a die-hard job, and there's not a day goes by you can't look at something on the job, or when I'm home, or look at somebody I know that he knows, and it just brings it all back, and it's comforting. And as much as everything happened, it's good to look back on, and I'm just glad I'm glad he was a part of my life. He was one of my mentors, and just always be there.
Great Richie story. Richie was one of our most enthusiastic guys in the company in Ladder 7. There's a detail to Rescue 1. We're a rescue support truck, so we used to get details to rescue a lot. And he had some buddies over there, quite a few friends. Richie has friends everywhere. But if there's a detail to rescue, he'd always jump all over it. He'd always, you're in the detail spot, but you mind if I go? Yeah, no problem, buddy, you got it. Well, one day the guys decided, let's play a little joke on Richie. They put in the book, detail, 9x6 tour, 1 ladder company show for the Rescue 1. There was no detail that night. Well, Richie comes in, sees it, the company's out on a run. He figures there's another guy working, Bobby Fody. He was working, and he used to like to go to rescue too, so he figured Fody's gonna jump all over this, so I better get out of here. So he grabbed all his gear and got a cab, or however he got across town, and they were gonna tell him before he left, but the companies were out, so he got over there. They're looking at him like, there's no show for detail here tonight. We don't let anybody else drive this rig. What are you kidding me? So that 2 hours later, they showed back up because they were going to give him a ride back. Then they caught a job, and then they, running up and down Manhattan, and he finally gets back, and everybody is just cracking up, and he was a little upset that we got him, but he wasn't upset at the fact that I got to go to a job, So he was happy. That was that was a good time, and he took it very well, very well. And if we did it to him again the next day, he'd have fallen for it again the next day. That's just how much he loved to do the job, and wanted to be where he had the best shot of it.
Let's see. First of all, like Max said, there is a million Richie Muldowney stories. Every one of them funnier than the next. But certain stories you have to keep in for everybody's listening pleasure. So I have one that I never really told anybody about, except the guys who would edit. And Pat Cleary runs King of the Ice for the hockey teams. And so this one year, he set 7 trucks, 16 engines against my house, 153.01. So I said, oh, this will be great. We're playing against the boys over there. This will be great. So we line up and starting to practice. And Richie's, of course, understand something. Richie was, in my view, the consummate firefighter. This guy was born to do this stuff. But he wasn't the consummate, athletic player out there. But when Richie played anything, softball, football, hockey, he gave you 140%. There was no cutting back on this. There was no slacking on his point. But like I said, he wasn't a natural athlete. He was a guy who would just go out there and just give it his all. But Richie couldn't skate. So Richie became, years ago, the goalie. Because you don't have to skate that far, 5 feet one with the other, So Richie's out there practicing, I'm skating by and going, I'm going to score on you today, Richie. Now, you have to understand something. I'm not a hockey player. I could barely skate forwards, but I'm going to score on Richie Muldowney. In your dreams, in your dreams. All right, so the game kicks off, and we're playing. And I'm skating by, and I'm about to take a shot at him. Now, I think Richie's favorite hockey player was Billy Smith from the Islanders, the slasher. So I'm skating by Richie. He takes that goalie stick, and he cuts my ankles out like a samurai swordsman. I'm like down on my face. I'm sliding towards the boards. Wham! I run right into the boards. I hear him with that laugh as I hit the boards. I'm trying to climb up, figure where I am, and who hits? Patty Boylan comes in and cracks me in the back. There was no hitting in this league. There's not supposed to be any hitting, but these guys are crushing me. And later on, they told me, we wanted to hit you so bad because you've always played football with pads, and I'm wearing freaking borrowed this, borrowed elbow pad, borrowed shin guards. I'm like a mess. I got, phone book around one shin to protect myself, and these guys are kicking my ass out there, excuse me. But, so later on, was skating again, and as I come by, I shot on this guy 3 times, and 3 times this lucky bastard stopped him. And of course, with the laugh, gotcha again, lamb, as I skate around him. And every time I went by this guy, he was slashing at me like he was John Belushi in Samurai Delicatessen. It was unbelievable. And being that he was a big part of my life, and he was always, I would say, twice the fireman I was or ever will be. And like Max said, I'm just, proud and honored to have him a big part of my life, and I'll never, ever forget. And that's my story for today.
So as everybody knows, there's a million Richie Muldowney stories, and I can't just stick with one story because I just remember so many great stories about Richie. He was hysterical. He was funny. Even though he didn't mean to be all the time, he was just a funny guy. He was all heart. He was all about being a firefighter, which being a fireman now, you kind of look up to Richie because he was so into the job, the J-O-B. And I'll just touch a couple stories. Some of the funny times we had at Engine Company, like David Weiss's bachelor party, getting hit in the head with a ham sandwich. I know not everybody knows what that means, but I giggle every time I think about it, man. Wrestling with Richie at his mother's house before Timmy's wedding, and me and Richie getting his mother so upset that she actually took a swing at me and broke a hurricane lamp on her house, and she still blames me for that to this day. And I really had nothing to do with that, Mrs. Muldowney. Face up to it. Richie at his brother Timmy, before our girlfriends got down. Oh man, I forget that story. I can't even bring that up. All right, no, I can't do that one either. All right. Richie used to, just the great times we had with Richie at Little America, his Bay House. And, oh man, how much he loved that place and how much he missed it when it was gone. We all missed it. That was pretty sad. I still have a picture at my house of the Bay House with Richie's picture on it. What other stuff with Richie? God, like I said, there's a million stories. I missed his 40th birthday party. I wish I was there. My sister was getting married that weekend. I couldn't be there. That killed me. But there's just a lot of great memories because Richie he was all heart. He was all heart. He wasn't always right, but he was right on target. He was all heart. Did everything like Gary said, 140%. I love the guy. I miss the guy. And I smile when I think about him. I smile when I think about him. I hope he's doing good up there. That's about it.
We were just talking after we did our little interviews about some other Richie stories that we don't think we could put on tape because it's just stuff for the guys. But we brought up other stories, like one of them was Paul Hashagen, a retired member of Rescue One, is an artist, and one of his first books I saw was a cartoon book probably based on different firefighters he's met over his many years on the job, and one of them was of a fireman his head coming out of a cloud of smoke. The helmet all melted around his head, and 3 days growth of beard, and he's got his hands sticking out, and he's saying to you reading the book, "Give me another nozzle, this one's melting." And I understand that was based on Richie, because Richie was the guy you needed. He's the guy you wanted when things were going bad, because he would go into hell with an inch 3/4 and put it out, and there was just no doubt about it. And when Dave and Gabe, we were talking before, Dave and I were talking with the other fellows, and reminded me of when we went to Proby School. There's another, Paul Hashagen and Richie were lighting the fires in Oceanside Training Center. It was just a big block building with some metal gated windows, and that was it. Very simple, but they could light some pretty hot fires in it. So we're outside, a bunch of probies watching this thing. It's starting to smoke, and it's smoking bigger and bigger. And next thing you know, we're like, okay, they're going to start, okay, your team, you're going to take the line in. And before they have the words out of their mouth, the place explodes. The windows rattle. And we're like, oh my God, Richie and the other guys are in there lighting a fire. Before we had a chance to move 1 foot, the metal gate flies open. Richie comes out, fire rolling over his head, smoke pouring out. He goes, "Give me more hay!" And at that point, I knew I was in trouble, because this is the guy he's gonna lead me. He's the guy I have to keep up with him. I knew I was scared at that point, and I did my best to do what I would expect Richie would want me to do. You know, do the best job I can, do the best. Nothing else is acceptable. But these stories that we have, and we'll sit in the corner when they talk about it, they just come out. It's just one after the other. But like I said, the cartoon was Richie. That's him. The whole rough look, and guaranteed I'm putting this fire out. I don't care what happens here. Fire to the left of me, fire to the right of me. I got it covered. Don't worry about it. I'll do the JOB. And I don't know, it's just, you know what, I'll go home, go back to the hotel tonight, and I'll just come up with another 100 stories. So maybe I should just travel around with this camera, and we'll just film them as we go, But like I said, best fireman I ever met, and I aspire to be as good as him one day. 14 years is up, I haven't reached his level yet, in my view. And that's it. And I know he's up there with a lot of friends, and they're leaning on that big oak bar in the sky looking down going, "Fellas, it's a good time up here, what's up?" That's what I'm hoping for. That's it.